very, very importantly, your sanctuary is at a turning point where you need some extra funds to buy this land. Can you explain to everyone where?
Yeah. I mean, because of all the things we have explained, it
Mm.
means that very many animals live here. Because if I meet an animal that people want to put down because it doesn't jump a particular fence or isn't nice enough or whatever, they have ended up here for as much space as we can give them. So it's 65 horses and altogether between 160 and 170 animals. And the farm is quite small. I mean, the farm that we actually, I mean, I don't believe in the ownership of anything, and particularly not land, but we have the legal the legal ownership of the place. That is a winter field for half of the horses, and everything else is land that we are leasing from very many different people, because this has developed over a long period of time. And we're leasing these grazing lands from very many different people, hoping that this will not put us in this particular situation of everything happening all at the same time. But now we have a global situation, actually, where humans have realized that we can't use oil as much as we have because we're burning the planet, but we are not prepared to change our lifestyle. So now we need electricity for everything we do. So one big grazing field is becoming a solar park for solar cell energy, and a few other fields are going to be replanted with trees, and that's not a forest being grown. It's just because in Sweden we cut down so many trees that we have a carbon monoxide problem. So we are then replanting grazing areas, which is terrible for the biodiversity. But now we only care about this particular number. So lots of fields are disappearing because of that. And in the middle of that happening, then the biggest grazing area we have, where we also base our school, because where we live is too small, is going to be for sale.
Wow.
So with all of that happening, it means that by next year we are losing half of the grazing lands, which makes a difference when there are so many animals. And at first we were just desperate and thinking that, okay, this is the end of it. We have to, pack up and leave. But then some students said, well, what if we try to actually find funds to buy this farm that is for sale? And this farm is very expensive. So that's a lot of money in a short time. But why should we give up before we even try?
Brilliant.
And then we realized in the process of finding this hope is that, okay, so if we manage to buy this farm, or if we don't manage to buy this farm, we will save the money for when a farm turns up for sale that could be used for this purpose. Then we will turn it into a foundation. Because with the legal form of a foundation, it means that the land will literally legally own itself.
Yes.
And it means that it will pass my lifetime.
Yeah.
Which I think is what the horses are wishing for. Because then also the herds of horses that once knew this chestnut pony that started it all, and that knew Mio that gave the teachings, we have a winter field that is secured. And if we can have grazing fields that are secured by a foundation, it means that we can have a continuity.
Brilliant.
In the herds, and this school can continue, because what we find in the school is that it is possible for humans to learn and develop compassion in this sense. It's not a skill that you have to be born with, or you have to be lucky for it to just happen. We can do things to move towards that kind of future, because we can't leave this planet to the next generation. I mean, it's embarrassing what we're doing. We have to do something while we still can. And even if this is a tiny fraction of a piece of soil and a few horses in a faraway country, it's a starting point. We have to start with what we have.
Absolutely.
And to create something that is not based on personal gain, and perhaps where humans can get the chance to practice being caretakers, because it's a land that none of us will own personally. And I think that's a necessity. Otherwise, it will still be ours, and we're still stuck in the same cycle.
That's absolutely beautiful. So there's going to be a link below to the foundation website where there's donation options on there. So you can either donate by PayPal, or there's bank details that people can use, and
Yeah.
obviously contact forms. And I would love, nothing would make me happier if, you know, this is where I think the power of the human community really steps in and does its bit.
Yeah.
Because if each and every person that listened to this was able to give whatever they are in, and however big or small, you know, there's no judgment, but every little thing helps. But also
it really does.
yeah, and pass it forward. So if this conversation and all of Emelie's beautiful work resonates with you, to pass it forward to some other friends that you think it's going to resonate, because together we can all make such a huge difference. And you know, really, it's got to happen. It's got to happen. So all the links will be below, as always. You've all got my contact details, and then we've got so much more we could talk about.